is not my birthday. This is not a party, or a gallery, or a text in a museum, or a thesis, or an artwork. If anything, this is a story. This story has a plot, it's got characters, structure, and a circular narrative of its own. And it has a beginning and an end. Because I wanted to. Because I am the boss of my own reality. In fact, because I am the writer. In fact, I am now writing this in my grandmother's garden. The sun is setting, white light projects on the edges of the deep sea, a heaviness similar to that of a log, tightening into the imminent light. I imagine this scene could only be looked at for divine purposes. As my grandmother rocks in her chair, I feel a threatening sense of commodity. She rests her hands on her lap, as if waiting for the present to arrive, the same way I write. I look into her eyes and find myself struck with the thought that for a moment, this seems like the last time I will ever stare at her in this garden. Let's take a break. I just lied to you. I'm writing this in my bed. No, I just lied again. I'm actually at my desk. I'm saying the truth. How do you know it's the truth? Can you see me? Do you trust me? Can you see I already lied twice in a row? Do you see how easily I can manipulate you? Look at you. Here we are, you as well, in this literary space, in this pronunciation of text, in this greater hope for meaning. Will it be tonight, the night in which I enlighten you? No! Shut up! I talk, you listen. Is this the kind of situation you're used to? How do you like to be talked to? Should I be more tender? Should I be more harsh? I hope I didn't offend you. Is this the wrong moment? I was considering whether to talk about our roles or not, but I guess they're obvious now. I guess the power of writing lies in the reader's unconditional expectation of truth, a blindness one can only envy and call ignorance. What I mean really is a kind of purity, a truth that rubs away with time. Adults might call it childlike, or naiveness. Some might even pretend to know it and call it strength. It's a sensibility, a nice way of looking at things, that we forget we grow older, like an innocence, but without the virginity connotation. Actually, maybe there does exist a reader's virginity. Maybe that's what's being breached right now. Maybe that sounds too aggressive. Maybe I sound too insecure about my writing. Anyway, you know what I mean. That I just exploited yours. Or did I? Did she? Now you're also questioning it. You don't even know what it means, do you? In fact, you are still processing what I said 2 sentences ago. You are beginning to lose track. I guess you're not as agile as you thought. Why did the writer pose that question in the first place? I don't know. I guess I'm afraid of distraction. I want to keep my readers alive. Baby, are you still watching? Is your mind full of noise? Is your mind full of silence? I want to know! In any case, my words probably mean nothing to you. My words probably really mean everything. She's distracting from the initial thought that she had been solidifying over the last sentences. It's a form of text sabotage. It's just that the word exploiting sounds too violent. I feel perhaps it might be your purity that's violent. That's the real conflict here. That is why I can't continue properly. Do you agree? Do you know what you're agreeing to? You're privileged enough not to know for sure, actually. Fine, I guess I went too far. You can't handle this anymore, can you? I thought so. Maybe after all there was no other intention here than to please. All I want to do is entertain you. That is why I'm dressed up. That's why I'm on this stage, with this microphone. That is why I am what I am and not who I am. And since I am nothing but a thing I tell you I'm not, this absurdity produces a sort of warm feeling in you. And therefore, in a way, I succeeded. My entire identity at stake. I always wondered how it felt being in the seen part of the circus. The viewer might seem passive at first glance, but I'm starting to think that you're not. It's you actually who keeps choosing to listen. I just have to follow the program, act accordingly to my agreement with the organizers, come here and perform a script. But you? No one is forcing you. Sure, I'm speaking and I'm reading something out loud, and the program is promised this act. So you feel forced to be here. And it's just for a little while, but even if that little while seems eternal and excruciating, why don't you just leave the room? Do you find this uncomfortable? Do you find this text awkward? It's surely not provocative enough to be awkward. You feel somewhat pointed at. You feel funny without knowing exactly what it is. You feel or think that I'm an idiot. I'm trying to acknowledge things before you do. Maybe this whole situation was just an excuse for me to show my face, demonstrate my skills. Though I'm sure these skills would be useless in any other context. I'm not even sure these skills are even useful in this context. Still, whatever happens, I will always be ahead. I will know what you're thinking before you're even thinking it. Ahead of the bad and the worst. Even the bad and the worst and the good and the best. All these pieces coming together to form a larger picture. And in that picture, do I look nice? Do I look pretty? Perhaps by the end of this text I could have emptied myself out completely, dissolving and becoming other, being nothing but a vessel. This image might then seem greater, stronger, finally purer. And in this purity, the reader will comfortably find the time to take a seat, drink some wine, spend some money maybe. Think of life and love as nothing but a game of self-reference, a collection of jokes one might share to an audience in the hope of some kind of meaning, of producing some kind of atmosphere among the public, inside and outside a social setting, designing a dream at the end of the night. Would you purchase this experience? Would you have signed up for this program even if you know I was empty? Well, by now you should know that emptiness is where the heart projects onto. We find empty words useful. They serve as a template for our previously unwanted thoughts. We attend events full of these words, where we exchange them among us, and only make sense of them after a processing time, after a kind of wake-up time, making sense of them meaning, realizing they never made sense at all. And for that, the writer is merely a tunnel, a speech with no end or beginning, a raw, null form of word, very empty, very boring. As a writer, I initially presented you with the concept of a scene, a rather ordinary scene, with an emotional surface, and a dramatic punchline at the end, if you can even call that a punchline. This punchline was the slide that led to the real writing. In such writing, if you can call it writing, I claim to have betrayed you as an audience, by admitting to have lied, if you can even call fiction a lie. And after this confession, which cannot be called a confession because it had no repercussions, I started to talk about something broader, more abstract, in which you probably drifted your attention, or you thought of something else, or admired the scene visually, because you didn't really care about the story, and were not invested enough in this act to begin with, because you probably didn't come here for this. It seemed that I, as the writer, had something else, something hidden and codified to tell you through such confession. But instead I end up holding in the text over in itself so excessively that it started to be difficult just to listen to it. You standing there, passively, staring, talking, Laughing? What the fuck are you doing? With a drink in your hand? With a boyfriend or a friend? You might speak English, you might speak Dutch. I cannot narrow this crowd further because I have no idea what you look like yet. In fact, I am still in my grandmother's garden. I mean, my chair. I mean, the dark cave that is my room in which I write and look very different than the way it all seems here. It all seems very funny here, actually. Even you seem funny. Is there any point in mocking the audience? Am I deviating from what I said before? What was I saying? Oh yeah, here it is, because I'm writing it myself, so the thing I said before is written just above. I can access it just by looking a bit further up. Yeah, right here. Oh, that's right. I was talking about myself. What else can I say? Oh yeah, let's talk about this text in terms of its writer. If you can even call me a writer. If I can even grant myself that title. I am just a normal person, just a simple, ordinary person. Sorry, let's get back to it. I am sick. I am sick and I want to be cured. Writing is no different from being ill. An illness is just a lack of something, a need. My need to write is out of illness and is in itself ill. I just hope you know. I just hope writing cures me. I just hope if it doesn't cure me, it can cure you at least. Really, I mean it. You're all sick too. But really, I just hope somebody wishes me a happy birthday, even if it's not my birthday. Even if I made that clear in the first sentence of the text. Maybe there's someone that's here that wasn't here in the first sentence. Talking about the first sentence, do you remember it? See, we are both delirious in a way. Whether you were here since the beginning or if you just entered, we will not debate the situation as long as you and I remain here. As long as I'm still talking and you're still listening. Because I'm practically giving a speech. Because you have no idea of its duration. Because I have a lot of pages and you're still unsure about whether I'm going to continue speaking or if that's just another lie. You will remain silent regardless. Won't you? You shit! Unless I tell you not to. Or even then. Audiences find it easier to follow orders from each other than from the stage. Because being a follower is outdated. Because being passive is not hot. Even now, as I reach the last section of this page, and I continue to vomit this intellectual gag on you, without actually being justified, you stare at me with indifference. In fact, I have no license to continue. And there is still some hope inside of you that this might be the last page. But really, when will you stop me? How far are you gonna let this keep going? Are you ready now? Are you ready for me to lie again? Can I finish? Can I? Okay, let's get this shit over with then.